Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to come on here and play the wise old grandpa role. I want to give a little advice to some people in my comment section and who watch my videos, especially younger people. Be careful when you're slandering veterans or when you're just being mean to them or saying catty things about veterans. It doesn't look good. And I know a lot of people right now are just getting caught up in the election season garbage where you got two veterans, one of which is saying nasty things about the other. The other one I haven't really seen say anything nasty about the other one yet, at least not tied to their military service. But here's the thing. When you engage in that, you win more sympathy for the person being attacked than you do points for the person on the other side. And right now we're seeing that because J.D. Vance has said some things about Walz, and now we got veterans groups rallying behind Walz, who would usually probably be more conservative and lean towards the Republican. They're finding themselves having to defend the Democrat because they don't like how disrespectful the other person's being. And when we do that ourselves, we actually gain more support for the person we're criticizing when there's not really any real reason to criticize them. J.D. Vance and Tim Walz are both veterans. And everyone on both sides should respect that. Now, I expect the people on the left to talk crap about J.D. Vance and his military career because they're lefties. And I don't think they have much respect for anything, much less military service. But people that are in the center and to the right of center, that's one of our tenets of our beliefs, is respect for the military. So where is that when you're attacking another veteran? It isn't very evident, is it? And it makes you look partisan, and it makes you look like you're hostile, and it causes people who are in the military, who might have been an ally otherwise, to rally around the person you're attacking, and that's not doing anybody any good. Plus, most of it's just misinformation. J.D. Vance is a combat-trained veteran. Tim Walz is a combat-trained veteran. J.D. Vance served 4 years. Tim Walz served 24 years. J.D. Vance was deployed once in a non-combat MOS to a non-combat arena. Tim Walz was deployed a couple of times to non-combat areas, and I don't believe he has a combat MOS, even though he is combat trained. They're both combat trained. I'm sure they've both done drills, and they were both deployed during wartime, so that does count as a wartime deployment. But neither of them are combat veterans. Neither of them have combat MOSs. J.D. Vance was a journalist in the public affairs office for the Marines. That's not a combat role. You're not in the heat of things. Tim Walz, I'm not sure what his actual MOS was, but he dealt mainly with stateside emergency relief and disaster relief. You know, all these things are noble things, but they're not combat roles. Neither of them are actually combat veterans, but they're both veterans. Like I said, they both served. So here's one little rule of thumb. If you haven't served at all, well, then just stay out of it completely, because you're not really going to win anything. You're going to just end up pissing someone off. So if you're not a veteran, stay out of it. If you are a veteran, have the good sense to think before you talk. And have a good sense to research things and find out what's just political and what's actual. It's like the things where they're saying like, oh, J.D. Vance was this and J.D. Vance did that. J.D. Vance did next to nothing. Definitely didn't do anything derogatory or mean or hateful. He didn't burn down villages or any of that stuff that some people on the left want to portray it as. Tim Walz didn't do anything bad either. And both of them, I don't think, have claimed they've had illustrious combat careers. I don't think either of them have. I've seen many things from Tim Walz where he said didn't do anything special in his military career, and I can relate to that. And I don't think J.D. Vance has made any big claims. So I don't think either one of them are doing anything to try to make themselves seem bigger than they are, but they have both served. And like I said, Tim Walz served for 24 years. And these people are like, oh, he chickened out of going to Iraq and retired. He retired several months before his unit ever got sent to Iraq. Those kinds of orders usually come in weeks in advance. They don't come in months in advance. So he had no idea his unit was even going to be sent to Iraq when he resigned. So that's just bullshit. And when you repeat it, you just look bad. And it shows you don't know anything about the military. Also, they're like, he got demoted. No, he did not get demoted. He was an E9. And when he retired, he still had leadership training to complete that he was given a grace period to complete while he was serving. But if he wanted to resign, well, he's a non-com, but if he wanted to get out and retire, he had to take a pay grade reduction to an E8 because he hadn't completed that leadership training. That's very common. The difference in his paycheck, his retirement check per month was only going to be a few $100s difference for doing that. And I know I would not have wanted to stay in another year and go to training if I was trying to launch a political career. So neither one of them have done anything to be ridiculed about as far as their service. They both served. Be respectful of that. Especially on the public stage, because like I said, we're trying to win an election here, and when you're attacking someone unjustly, you're winning them favor, not tearing them down. You're causing people to rally around them. Also, let's remember, even though Walz, you may not like him, full 24-year veteran, period. Didn't do one term, did the whole shebang, and just happened to retire during wartime before his unit was ever deployed. So that's garbage. And he did, one thing you do want to know about him, though, that I was trying to get to here, he did make the statement that assault rifles are weapons of war, just like the ones he carried in war. Well, he carried weapons during war, but not in war. So that's a little grandiose statement, but anti-gunners lie about stuff like that all the time. They always try to make their opinion sound more important. I don't think he made his own service sound more important there as he did just try to, like I said, twist minds against assault rifles or semi-automatic rifles. I don't think he probably never got a rifle issued to him in most of his career. I never saw a rifle after basic training except for, qualifications. I'm sure it's the same thing with J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. So when he's talking about weapons of war, well, he's engaging in some grandiose theater there, and I don't mind people slamming him on that. But as far as going after him as like, oh, he's stolen Valor, he's all this stuff, he served 24 fucking years. I think that's about as valorous as you can be. J.D. Vance served his 4 years. He honored his commitment. So I don't like people going after him on their military careers, period. If you want to go after him on their ideas, yeah, open season. They both have some pretty bad ideas. It just so happens that one side has some bad ideas that are very dear to me. They have some bad ideas about things that are important to me. But like I said, just be careful when you're engaging in attacks on people and their military careers. Now, like I said, I'm not someone to say you can't ever do it. I've done it. Like I said, just to get someone's attention. But the cost was to me, and I was willing to make the sacrifice. When you do it in a public setting, now, during an election, like I said, you're not making a personal sacrifice. You're making a sacrifice that the rest of us might have to pay for. Because like I said, you're making one side seem mean to veterans, and you're causing the other side to get veterans rallying around them who wouldn't normally support them. So like I said, just tread carefully. Try to be courteous. Recognize that both of these people deserve your respect for their service. Maybe not as people, but for their service. And let's stay away from the attacks like that regarding their service. Because it doesn't make anybody look good, and it doesn't help the people launching the attacks. It helps the people being attacked.